said if we get around 50 million for Sancho, I'd sell. Talented baller, but United need dangerous, potent wide players. Plus Sancho ain't a Ten Hag signing. You guys have been linked with Jadon Sancho today.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Firstly, I don't believe it, but secondly, how do you feel about that anyway?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think it's right for where we are at the moment. I was saying this to Terry yesterday on the Straight Facts show that for me, I think he falls into, and forgive me, he falls into the sometimes player, on his day player. And for me, I think where Spurs are at the moment, I just don't feel that £50 million for a bloke that hasn't set the world alight, that isn't consistent. I don't think that's what we need. I think we need players that want to die for the club. We need players that run through brick walls. I don't care Rants, if they're big names or not. We need the right type of player. And I just don't think that. Listen, sometimes I watch Sancho and I think, yeah, quality. You've got good technical ability. Other times I watch him and I just think, I didn't even know you were playing today. And I just don't think that's where Spurs are at the moment. I really don't. I don't see him as a Postecoglou type player in terms of the front three that he plays.
What would you say is a Postecoglou type player then?
I think it's a player that runs, a player with energy. And I don't just mean runs when they got the ball. This is pressing, running, closing down, cutting inside, movement, link up play. I just don't see Sancho as that. I've got nothing against him. I just don't see him as that guy. And Spurs aren't. We don't have Chelsea and Man City money, right? So I can't see dropping 50 million on him. He plays from the left, right? Am I right in that? Is he play from the left or the right?
He plays on both sides, but
plays both sides. I can't see that he's going to get in above Son. And for me, I think we'll need something different on the right hand side. So not for me. I'm not knocking him. He's got his uses, but I've not seen anything in the last 2 years that makes me go, oh yeah, get him into my team, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. 100%. I would say where you guys are, you're in a worse position than us. So if he isn't comfortable at Manchester United week in, week out, going to Tottenham, is career suicide. So I just don't believe he would do that anyway, because why the hell would he? Do you know what I mean? Why would he? Like, you can't afford his wages. And two,
what's he on?
He's on about 250, not including bonuses, like that. So his bonuses takes him over 300. So you can't afford him, And then on top of that, like, you guys are struggling. If you think Man United don't have an identity, you just got to look at Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? So, like, there's absolutely no chance in hell that he would even consider going to you guys, innit? So I don't know where this rumor has come from. It's a very strange one.
It sounds lazy, doesn't it? I think we're at that stage of the season now where I think it's pretty well known that Spurs are going to rip up a lot of the players and get them out, which means a lot of players will come in.
Yeah.
But as I keep saying, Spurs fans don't want to hear this. They really don't want to hear this, Rants. You know me, though. You know I'm level-headed. Spurs fans are going to see a lot of players, I think, in the next 2-3 years under Postecoglou that they might not have heard of. Right? That Postecoglou knows across the world that play his formation, whether that be from Japan, whether that be from Denmark, whether that be from Argentina. I think we're going to see a lot of players that are going to be his players rather than the big names that fans want.
Sure.
And I'm crying out for that. I'm crying out for players that fit a manager's system, not just who's the big name, because Spurs don't do well in that area. We really don't. If you look at our biggest transfers ever, hardly any of them ever work out. Hey, that's just my opinion. Lots of fans think we're bigger than we are. Same people putting Postecoglou down. The same people that somehow think that Spurs are going to sign Bastoni and Casado and Vardial. The people that just need to sort of come back down a bit, Rants, to reality and realise where we are in the food chain.
But this is the funny thing, though. Like, the fact that people genuinely believe that even if Spurs wanted Sancho, that he would even entertain the phone call, tells you everything you need to know about the state of journalism at the moment. Like, Jadon Sancho wouldn't text back, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. Like, he's just qualified for the Champions League with Manchester United. He actually finished the season quite well. Like, he hasn't had a great season as a whole, but the last month of the season, 6 weeks of the season, he looked like he started to kind of get into his groove a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So why the fuck would he be thinking about going to Tottenham? Do you know what I mean? Like, that don't even make no sense. Like, at very worst, he's probably looking, you know what, I can go back to Dortmund or something like that, somewhere where I'm comfortable if I want to get my confidence back. You do not go to Tottenham to get your confidence back. You know what I mean? It makes absolutely no sense. So I really I don't understand. Super chat, he said, yes, boys, rate both of you and your content. This is a good link up question to both of you. Would you swap Harry Kane for Sancho and money?
No.
No, neither of us would. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't make sense.
I think for me, look, I'm always reticent to talk about money because for me, it's not my money, right? I'm a football fan. But from the point of view with how much work Spurs need to do, I just think that if you're going to let Harry Kane go, what you don't want to do is bring in people that have got question marks over them at the moment. I truly believe that. Yeah, I wouldn't at all. I think if Kane goes, I think it's going to be cash. I think it's going to be straight up.
Levy wouldn't entertain anything other than cold, hard cash.
Yeah, unless we're getting a player that Postecoglou goes, oh, they're offering him. Yeah, I want him. And if there are players like that, I can't see they'd want to leave Man United for Tottenham right now. So yeah, I think it would be cash. I'm a very rare Spurs fan, everybody. I fully understand the lane I'm in. I fully get it.
No, 100%, bro. And it's admirable, man. And it's like, even with the Sancho situation for me, I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know what? Let's wait and see, innit? Let's wait and see. I want to wait and see what my manager does. I want to see the kind of signings my manager makes before I decide whether it's good for Sancho to stay or whether it's good for him to leave, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? Let's wait and see what the manager brings in to complement his skill set, innit? Because if he brings in a certain type of player, then I'm like, you know what, he doesn't belong here. And that's no shade on his ability, because ability-wise, like, Jadon Sancho is unbelievable, innit? But I understand exactly what he is. I don't like when people use the term system player, because I believe nearly every player is a system player. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know a certain player that's not a system player. Every player will always thrive in an environment that suits them. Like, there's no such thing as a player that isn't going to play better in certain teams. That there's no such thing as that. Do you know what I'm saying? So when you go across, there's not a single player in the world. Like, look at Jack Grealish, for instance. Yeah, when he first went to Man City, when he went to Man City, everyone was saying, "Oh, Pep's ruining him. He doesn't suit it. He doesn't suit that." Like, it's just like, bro, like, he's good enough. He'll adapt eventually, but he didn't adapt straight away. For me, the best Jack Grealish you're never going to see at Man City. The best Jack Grealish you're going to see in a team where you allow him free roam, you allow him to get on the ball, do whatever he wants when he wants. That's when you see the best Jack Grealish. That doesn't mean that he's still not going to be good at Man City.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I'm saying? But it took him over a season to become the Grealish that we're seeing now. And I still believe, the best version of Jack Grealish, you let this guy know that he's the guy and he can do whatever he wants, innit? Like, and he's not an arrogant player to say that he needs that. However, you need to give him that. You need to give him that, really, if you're going to get the best out of Jack Grealish, man. Because for me, this guy is a maverick. When you compared him to Paul Gascoigne, that's exactly what he reminds me of. And you don't tell Gaza, "Oh, you know what, mate, you're playing left wing today." You tell Gaza, "Go out there and have fun." That's what you tell those kind of players.
Yeah. No, listen, I agree with you. Look, I think what you'll see is Grealish. He's doing his thing. I think he'll be at City for 2, 3, 4 years. As soon as Pep lets him go and he goes to another club, he'll go back to being the Jack Grealish that gets the ball, wants to beat men, whipping shots, because no one else plays like City. The only reason I talk about system players is, for years, Spurs have just gone out and bought players that just don't really suit any kind of formation. We just buy them and chuck them in. And I'm hoping that with Postecoglou, we allow him to build a team in his mold. That's what I think we need. That's just me. That's just me. I've seen too much for the last for the last 10, 15 years of Spurs of not building or implementing an identity. And that's all I want to see at Tottenham.
Yeah, 100%. And this thing here, Like, guys, let's stop lying. Do you know what I mean? People were saying the same thing about Alex Ferguson, yeah. Oh, why did he let Pogba go? He didn't let Pogba go. Pogba left. Do you know what I mean? The reason why Sir Alex Ferguson fell out with Mino Raiola in the first place is because Paul Pogba felt like he should be playing in the Man United team, and he kept saying to Pogba, "Oh yeah, your time will come." And Mino was like, "Nah, fuck this. We're getting out of here. Like, he's good enough to play." And the same thing happened with Jadon. Jadon said he wanted to leave to play because he believed he was good enough to play, and he proved he was right because he went to Dortmund and won stuff. Do you know what I mean? And played well.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, let's not pretend that Jadon Sancho was gotten rid of. Do you know what I mean? That did not happen. The same thing didn't happen with Paul Pogba. These guys left on their own accord because they wanted to go somewhere else, innit? And it's as simple as that. Like, whether or not stylistically certain players suit certain teams, you look at Kevin De Bruyne, yeah, he went to Chelsea, and a lot of people never thought that he would have the career that he had at Manchester City, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not for everyone. The same can go for Mohamed Salah as well. Like, do you know what I mean? People are saying to Chelsea fans at the time didn't regret letting these guys go. They thought that they didn't know that they were going to have the careers that they had in the Premier League. They didn't know.
Yeah, of course. And I think the key thing is when we say there are so many flippant comments of if they were that good, so and so wouldn't have let them go. Well, Pep Guardiola's got a history of letting top players go, and he never regrets it. I mean, Pep Guardiola let Yaya Toure go from Barcelona to Man City.
Absolutely, and he played him at centre back before. Let's not forget.
Right, and people in this country were like, "Oh my God, why did Barcelona let him go?" Well, you know, he had Busquets. He had players that could play that position. He didn't need Yaya Toure. So this is a guy that's made a career of doing this. The amount I see Pep Guardiola questioned, it's almost like people never learn. You know what I mean? Like, we never learn. He knows what he's doing. You know, he knew why he was letting Cancelo go. He knew what he wanted. He knew why Sterling went, Zinchenko went, Jesus went, Ferran Torres, Sané. He went, you know.
Oh, bro, when he let go of Leroy Sané, people were saying this he's drunk. The guy let go of Cancelo. Like, bro, like, he gets rid of top players and he still thrives.
Yeah. It's listen, and that's the thing. But it takes years and years to get to that level, and it takes excellent coaching, and it takes your owners to completely, fully trust in you. Because I can imagine most owners would have been like, "Sorry, you want to let go of Cancelo on loan? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, not even for a massive fee. Sorry,
it's not even let go of him. Get rid of him." He was like, "Listen, I'd rather not have him here because he's disrupting what I'm trying to build."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, and it takes a strong character to do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Let's be fair. I reckon whatever decision Pep comes to at Man City, no one questions it. I bet you the board at no point go, "Oh, Pep, could you explain that one to us?" I don't reckon that at all. He has got so much credit in the bank.
You don't question Pep.
Of course you don't. The same way Ferguson wouldn't have been questioned for however many years at Man United.
Well, there you go. He got rid of Yap Stam. It was the wrong decision, but boy, he made the decision. Do you know what I mean? You don't always get it right. But most of the time when he gets rid of players, Sir Alex Ferguson, has a reputation that, you know what, he knows when to let people go. Like, people always say it. It's the same thing about Ruud van Nistelrooy. Even though Ruud van Nistelrooy went to Real Madrid and top scored Real Madrid after we let go of him, it didn't matter. Do you know what I mean? We won the Champions League when we let him go. Like, knowing when to get rid of players is also a very, very underrated quality that the top managers have. They know when a player's peaked. They know when they've just done enough or they're not going to get any more out of them.